Right, Mull, looking ahead to the league, which starts this weekend. You're looking outside there. I'm sure it's wet and miserable. I came in, I got soaked on the way into the office here today. Not the most glamorous time of the year, but the league's still obviously a very, very important competition. Maybe more so for some counties more than others. We'll fly through all the Division 1 counties, Mull. We'll start with the All-Ireland champions, Tipperary. What do you think they'll be looking to get out of the league? I think they got a hell of a lot out of it last year. They would have. I remember even Liam Cahill after the league final last year, where they got a bit of a pasting by Cork. You kind of sense a little twinkle in his eye that he learned a lot about Cork that day, and he learned a lot about Tip that day. What will they be looking to get out of this year's league?
I think they'll go after the league. You're not going to change. Why would you change something that was successful last year? The template that was successful last year. And that was a good league run, which brought momentum and feel-good factor into the Munster campaign. So I think they'll go after the league. I honestly do. I don't think they'll sit back and go into relax mode like probably Clare done or whatever, and say, right, we'll time a run going into the Munster campaign. And I think that's evident by some of his team selections throughout the course of the Munster League. I foresee them going after the league. And I foresee them being in the top 4, top 3. Whether they can get into the top 2 or not, I think they'll win 3 or 4 matches, and I think they'll be in the mix for a place in the league final.
They're in a nice position, Mull, where like Oisin O'Donoghue wants a starting spot. Sam O'Farrell is flying it with Galway and the Fitzgibbon. You have Paddy McCormack trying to make his way through. There's a heap of young fellas that have All-Ireland under-20 medals and a lot of success, even at All-Ireland minor medals as well. There's lads chomping at the bit there. It's for an All-Ireland champions to be coming in like that. Like, I would expect a decent bit of change in the Tipperary team this year. Whereas you look at champions, maybe it's usually 13 or 14 of the team. I don't foresee that in Tipperary, and I think that's a nice position for Liam Cahill to be in.
Yeah, and Liam strikes me as a chap that, if a lad is going well and he's putting his hand up, he'll start. And I'd say he will be reminding some of the players, who got him over the line last year. Well, lads, 2025, that's gone. September.
I'm the same one. I think he'll be I don't think he'll care. Like, in a sense.
Well, sorry, I don't mean September. I mean July. July is 5 months ago, lads. That's past tense. I mean, we're driving on now for 2026, and whoever's showing up well in training, whoever's showing up well in these league matches will be getting a Tipperary jersey for the first round of the championship. And I think that's why I think they have the right man over him now. I mean, they haven't achieved back-to-back since 1965.
Yeah.
And I think if they are ever to do it, I think this is the man to go and achieve it. And I think that's why I sense, as you just touched on there, naming the players. I mean, it's a lovely, lovely position to be in. Some of those players you just named, they're top players who will be, as you just touched on, will be chomping at the bit to go and roll up the sleeves, have the bit between their teeth and throw it back to Liam and say, Liam, I want to be in your panel and I want to start for Tipperary.
Yeah, Liam has already said that back-to-back is what he's aiming for, so he hasn't pulled any punches there. That's what he's thinking. Looking at Cork, Mull, All-Ireland final, second half of the All-Ireland final, obviously a massive disappointment, a massive mystery. Before that, they'd won the league for the first time since the late 90s. They won the Munster title, obviously, as well, on penalties. New manager in Ben O'Connor. What are you expecting from Cork? Plenty of new faces in. A lot of lads getting chances, I'd imagine. And like I think it's a fresh start for them. Even like naming a new captain, even in Dara Fitzgibbon as well. I think it's Mark Coleman as vice captain. Ben O'Connor has kind of swept the boards here. And I think Cork I don't think they'll have taken shape maybe till the end of the league. I think they'll be learning a good bit throughout the league. Whether a league title is, on their radar, I'm not sure. What do you reckon?
Look, any new manager that comes in, I mean, there's going to be the new manager bounce. I mean, players are going to want to try and impress Ben. And Ben, a bit like Liam, I mean, he won't care what's gone on before under Pat Ryan's watch. He'll be just anxious to drive on now for 2026, stamp his own mark on it. And by stamping his own mark on it, he'll be eager, Michael, to win matches, and he'll be eager to win as many matches as he can in this league campaign. And if that means getting to a league final and pushing on and winning another league title, I think he'll take that all day long. I mean, you look at the panel of players that they have. They have the panel of players where they can rotate in, week out, and they're still going to be relatively strong for whatever team takes to the field, or for whatever team takes to the field against whatever opposition they come up against. So I think, again, a bit like Tipperary, I think they'll be in the top 3, top 4, and I think they'll be in the mix for a league final place.
Any areas in particular that you think he'll go after? I wouldn't be that surprised if there was a change in goalkeeper. I think Saunderson will get a good shot. He was obviously his under 20 goalie. Ben Cunningham the most likely to take over on freeze, do you think? Or it's hard. There's a lot. You're going to learn a hell of a lot. That is because things will change.
What was fascinating to see was Ethan Tilney going back to number 6 against Clare, and I think for Ethan is kind of, he was kind of a bit the forgotten guy in the end with under Pat Ryan's watch, where he was brilliant for certain periods of Pat Ryan's tenure, and coming to the latter end of it, he kind of became the forgotten guy. And I actually think, putting him back at number 6 might actually suit Eaton, and I think it might actually suit the team. He's a steady player. He's a linked player. He went back in around centre back. I remember he marked Keane Lynch there for one of the games in the championship, I think, there 2 years ago. I wouldn't be at all bit surprised if Kieran Joyce might get a look at Kieran Joyce in around the full back line, might go in full back. And this Alan Welch, he's a big aerial player, able to move on the feet, able to take a score. I'd be very interested to see how he goes in the league. And as you just touched on there, Ben Cunningham hit the freeze relatively well in some matches in the Munster League. So there'll be ample opportunities for a lot of these players. And look, the array of talent is still there, Michael. They're still going to have a really good panel, 30 players, even players outside the panel who will be mad to get in and mad for road. So I think, I as I touched on last week, I don't buy into some of this commentary that it's a transitional period. The talent is there for Cork to push on in 2026.
Well, looking at Kilkenny, where do you think they're at? Nice bit of change in their backroom team. We've lost Eddie, obviously. Eddie's kind of gone in as forwards coach. Niall Corcoran, his head coach, as Derek Ling described him last week.
Well, I'd like to congratulate Eddie on winning his first piece of first trophy, the Leinster Welsh Shield.
I'd say he was dining out on it.
So we just like to applaud him and congratulate him on that success.
While I have it, Mull, we didn't bring it up at the time, but Eddie, kind toss or not, Eddie has lost to Westmeath at under 21 and senior level during his Kilkenny management test. So I text him. I didn't get a great reply, but
well, that's one for a quiz master now in 20 years' time, Michael. They'll be all asking that question, and fortunately for poor Eddie, no, but look, I think Eddie going in there, I think he'll bring a bit of freshness to it. Look, and I know, I mean, his knowledge of the game, you only have to know that by the way he used to speak on this pod. His knowledge of the game, I think he's going to bring a freshness to it. We seen what he done up in Laois, worked the Oracle up there. So I think, bringing him in is a great move by Derek Ling. Unfortunately for Derek Ling, I mean, there's going to be a massive void to fill with you all are going from full back. Billy Ryan, very, very underrated player. He's going to be a big, big loss as well. So,
well, I know they'll just move on with what they have, but Jesus, particularly Hugh Lawler, like, he is a phenomenal loss. He's probably Kilkenny's best player.
Who do you foresee going in there?
It's a difficult one. Like, say, Derek would have had Pádraig Moylan at full back. I think he had him at full back when he won the under 20 All Ireland 4 years ago. Like, Jesus, there's not lads jumping up and down say, geez, I'm a ready-made fullback or anything like that. Mikey Butler's one corner, he's too small. Tommy Walsh was the other corner, he's out with a cruciate. So like, there's lots of spots to go in there. They still have a problem at number 6. I think Dara Corcoran will get a shot there or somewhere in the half back line. But like, the ready-made replacements aren't exactly jumping up and down. So I think that's a problem already.
I'll tell you one player I'm really looking forward to, and I think will put himself in a good position to get a position in that full back line is this Evan Bolger.
Yeah.
He's from the under-20s, really like him. I thought Derek would have called him in last year for the All-Ireland semi-final, so I think we'll see an awful lot of him in the league campaign. And I'm going to predict that he will, come championship time, he will fill one cornerback spot. Mikey Butler will fill the other cornerback spot, and potentially then you might have someone like Paddy Deegan or maybe Mikey Carey or Dara Corkin going back in at number 3.
Okay.
If you're going to ask me for a prediction, look, Kilkenny will be Kilkenny. Kilkenny go out to win every match, whether it's a game of tiddlywinks or whatever. I think they'll win 3 or 4 of the matches, and again, I foresee them being in the top 4 and being in the mix for a league final place. I foresee it being Kilkenny, Tipperary, Cork, and we'll move on to Limerick. I definitely foresee Limerick being in the mix as well,
Limerick winning that Munster League, Mull, maybe you could say it was a bit of a statement or something like that for what's to come. But last year was the first year since 2017 that they didn't have a title of any note at the end of the year. And now they have one on the table. I know it's not maybe the most meaningful one. They ended up, just because of the amount of players they have involved with the Fitzgibbon, they ended up playing a lot of the older heads. Like Keane Lynch played a lot of games, Will O'Donoghue played plenty of games, and many more. Where, like we've said it before, they need to find, throughout the league, they need to find more options for the full back line in particular, and possibly even in the half back line as well. Be interesting to see where Cahill O'Neill is played. But what do they need to get out of the league? Like, we need to see a couple of more lads probably putting their hands up, particularly in defence.
Yeah, and I think one of those lads could be, there's a chap, I watched him the weekend. I'd like to cast my eyes on him a bit more throughout the course of the league. Matthew Fitzgerald I was small bit impressed. He had legs, moves forward, played wing back last Saturday against Waterford. Be very interested to know, could he potentially go back in cornerback? So he could become, he could come into the mix. But you're 100% right. They definitely have to unearth 2 defenders, whether it be one defender might start or one defender might be cover, or two defenders might cover, because they have the firepower still up front. I mean, you look at Shane O'Brien. He looks like a beast at the moment. I'm predicting big things for him this year, particularly in the league. I think the league will suit him down to the ground, and particularly come the summertime. Aidan O'Connor was moving last weekend. Tom Morrissey looks in very good condition. Hegarty looks in great condition. Darragh O'Donovan, they didn't have him last year. He was motoring well as well. And my prediction for the National League winners are going to be Limerick. I think they're going to go all out to win the league. I think they're going to, as you just touched on, they didn't win any trophy last year, and I think they'll be keen to get back to picking up silverware. And who knows, silverware, they might do the clean sweep this year, but I think the number one target will be that they'll go after the league and to try and win that league, and they'll be looking on and saying to themselves, well, look, Clare done it in 2024. Cork and Tipperary, look, the run they had last year, done them no harm. And I think a good league campaign for Limerick, just to kind of get them back believing that, we still are the real deal. And we are the real deal, that we can push on and win another All-Ireland. Look, they don't need another league title to confirm, but you can't be winning silverware or winning titles to bring that belief or that feeling back again that we are still number one, or we still are number 2 within the country.
When you're winning All Irelands, your league campaigns thereafter can kind of be keeping your cards close to your chest or not expending too much. But I would agree with you. I think it's not to say that they're going to go after the league, but I think they'll have pretty strong teams out and will be trying to be very, very consistent. So I would definitely see them in the mix as well. What about your own Waterford, Mull? Division 1B champions last year, come on up to 1A this year. Austin Gleeson not involved at the minute anyway, just with various injuries and bits and pieces. Caleb Lyons back, Jack Fagan back. De Bourke is staying involved for another year. Jamie Barnes still involved. The good few Ballygunner boys coming in. Where do you see them at in the league? What will they be trying to get out of the league?
I think what Peter will want to get out of the league, I think he will target trying to win 3 out of the 6 matches. 3 out of the 6 matches. And 3 wins, that might be, that might get him into the top 4. It will consolidate their league status for 2027. It could be a little bit of a struggle early doors because, the time period now, how long are the Ballygunner players going to be let off for? I will be thinking we mightn't see the Ballygunner lads maybe till game 4, possibly game 3.
It's a tricky one,
4.
isn't it? Because you want them to be fresh in May, April, May, and hopefully June and July. So while you'd love to have them back in, 2 weeks, you could be cutting off your nose to spite your face down the line almost.
No, I don't foresee them being back in 2 weeks.
No, but what I'm saying is you'd love to have them, but you're looking at the bigger picture and you're like, Desi's on the go a good while now. He probably needs 6 weeks. Do you know what I mean? They need to give them a bit more time to hopefully get more out of them down the line, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and look, it's minding these lads now, and it's getting the timing right for these lads to come back in. And hopefully they will be coming back in off the back of a win or two. The one advantage that they have, they're going to be getting a Ballygunner contingent of players coming back in, with a pep in their step.
Yeah.
In a really good mood rather than come back if they lost the All-Ireland final. I wouldn't say they'd be coming back narky or pissed off, but they kind of have to kind of rebuild themselves again, and kind of do away with losing an All-Ireland final. But Peter doesn't have that worry now. They're going to be coming back in, whether it be in 4 weeks' time, 5 weeks' time, 6 weeks' time. They're going to be coming back in with a pep in their step, and I think that will benefit Waterford when they do come back. But before they come back, it's Waterford supporters. If they were to lose 1 or 2 games early doors, they're down to Ballygunner contingent. They're probably possibly going to have to mind Stephen Bennett as well. Where's the Burke at? They're probably going to have to mind the Burke. So they're going to probably have to mind some of their big players with a view to having them right come Munster Championship. So it could be tricky early doors. I could foresee it being tricky early doors. They've got the Cork this weekend. They've Limerick the following weekend. I think then round 3, it could be they've got to Kilkenny or do they have Offaly. So there's a couple of sticky, difficult fixtures early doors. And if they were to come up short, I think that there can't be no air of panic amongst Waterford supporters, because this is it's a difficult league, and I think everything will be geared towards the Munster campaign, and that's why I think Waterford. I think it's going to be difficult to make the top 4, and I think if you told Peter right now that you'll win 2 or 3 games out of the 6 and you'll hold on to their Division 1A status, I think you can take that all day long.
Galway, Micheál Donoghue's second year, he didn't maybe sweep the boards the first year and not clear out players, but freshen things up. Definitely looks like he's doing so this year. Obviously David Burke is retired, great player for Galway, and he's going to be a big loss as well. But like, I was actually surprised to see Darren Morrissey named as captain the other day, because I wouldn't necessarily had him down as a guaranteed starter. But obviously, in their heads, he's a guaranteed starter, and potentially in the full back line this year. And maybe with Dottie Burke maybe been pushed out the field and trying to rebuild, maybe with Morrissey at 3 potentially, and with Gavin Lee at 6, and maybe Keenan Fatty in the mix there as well, maybe at 5. Where do you see Galway at? There's going to be a lot of change. I know I was chatting to Cyril Farrell there a couple of weeks ago. He's really excited by what's coming, because he reamed off all these names of talent that we haven't really seen at senior level, and he says these boys are ready to go, and he says if they get on a run, they could get on a mighty run.
Yeah, I would totally agree with him. I am really. They're the two counties I'm kind of looking forward to keeping an eye on are Dublin and Galway. I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to play out under year 2 under Micheál Donoghue. And Cyril is 100% right. You look at some of the players he's introduced throughout the course of the Welsh Cup campaign, and Jason Rabbit, Aaron Nyland to name but a few. And I think there's going to be a nice blend between the young, the middle block of players and the elder statesmen, and even the positioning of Dottie Burke in midfield. That's an interesting one as well. And I cannot wait for that fixture Saturday night. You go back to 12 months ago, Tipperary went up,
Yeah.
and they steamrolled Galway up in Salt Hill. And Galway were probably on the back foot straight away, from the get-go last year. So I'm thinking that Micheál Donoghue will be sending out the message saying, right lads, we're going to really go at this game Saturday, even down in Thurles. And I think a bit like Waterford, I think he'll try out a good few players, give an awful lot of players an opportunity, try and find 4 or 5 players that he can blend into his championship team or championship panel, that he can go and trust and say, right, I believe that you're ready to go and feature in the Leinster Championship. And that's why I think, a bit like Peter Queally, he'll be eager to maybe get 2 or 3 wins and hold on to his Division 1A status. I possibly don't see them being in the mix to finishing in the top 2 or featuring in the league final.
Yeah, Waterford obviously went up as champions. Offaly go up as runners up, and it's gonna be a difficult enough league campaign. Like when you look at the opposition that they're going to be coming up against, like there's literally no gimme. Like there's not one gimme. So it is going to be difficult. From an Offaly point of view, I would expect probably to see. I think Liam Hora will nail down the spot in the goals. Adam Screeney is obviously fit now. He's fit. He didn't see very little championship time last year with his I think it was a lower leg, was an ankle injury. There's a lot of lads, good few lads busy with Fitzgibbon at the minute. Dan Burke, Charlie Mitchell is obviously the new captain. I think Offaly are going to be under pressure now in 1A, and if they can get a result or two and it's not kind of too demoralising, I think I'd be happy enough with that for a league campaign. But it is going to be difficult. But I tell you this, when I put down my 15 or 20 best Offaly players and make a team, I like the team and I like how it's taken shape. They still have Ben Keneally there, obviously. Kieran Burke is probably still going to be there as full back.
Is young man, he got injured against Galway 2 weeks ago, how's he?
Yeah, he's going to be under pressure for a few weeks or whatever. But there's a lot of, when I look at the depth, it's getting there. But like it's one thing getting there, and then coming up against Limerick, or you're coming up against Cork. It is going to be tough, in my opinion, for Offaly to step into 1A.
They could be like Wexford last year, where Wexford were very, very competitive in every match they played, but they might still just come up short in the majority of the matches.
I take that now. I take that.
You would take that all day long. Like if they were to be very, very competitive, if they could pick up, obviously getting that first win is going to be the big one for them. And if they could get one win, and who knows, they could maybe look to maybe try and engineer a second win. But I think they could be a bit like Wexford last year, be very, very competitive, fighting their way down the closing stages of every match, but maybe just coming up short. And as you just said, they could bring that into the Leinster Championship then, you know.
Well, the Leinster Championship, where they have Dublin at home, they have Wexford at home, they've Kildare away. They will see those as three. Winnable might be the wrong word, but they will see the chances of getting points in those games. So probably looking at the bigger picture there, but I do think they will struggle in 1A. Just fly through 1B really quickly, Mull. 1B is like the division of the reunions. There's going to be some amount of reunions here, right? So you have Davey involved as Antrim boss. When they play Carlow, he'll be facing off against Pat Bennett, who was with him in Waterford, Wexford, and he was with him in Antrim last year. When they face off against Clare, he'll be facing off against Loan and a few of the boys that he won All Ireland with in 2013. When he faces off against Wexford, he'll be facing off against some of the boys that he helped bring a Leinster title to in 2019. He's brought Saoirse Bulfin up with him now in Antrim this year, so he'll have a reunion when they play against Wexford. He'll have a reunion when they play against Clare. I'm probably forgetting some other reunion in there as well. But
he'll get 2 hugs, he'll get a handshake, and he'll get a stare off alone.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably fairly accurate. Just looking at it, it's kind of the makeup of 1B is like unusual, probably to say the least. You have Clare, obviously, they're 2024 All-Ireland and League champions. You have Dublin, who were All-Ireland semi-finalists last year. Then you have Kildare, newcomers who played well against Kilkenny at the weekend. Kildare obviously that's going to be a tough enough division for them as well. They will probably fancy, particularly when they play the likes of Down, Carlow, maybe Antrim to a lesser extent as well. But this,
and hey, yeah. My boy is back for the Dubs. Owen O'Donnell is back. I think that's going to be a massive plus for the Dubs. I mean, if they had him last year, would Cork have gone in for 6 goals? I don't think so. So I think it's a great move by Neil Callaghan.
6 or 7? 7 was a
was it 7?
Yeah.
And I just think, I just think it's a good move for both the Dubs and for Owen. I mean, he's been over and back with the footballers now. If I was giving him a bit of advice, I'd say, look, you know what, for the next 3-4 years, put your head down with the Dubs in the Hurling, because I think potentially something special could happen with the Dubs over the course of the next couple of years. I think they have a great opportunity of potentially pushing on and winning the Leinster title this year. That's going to be a great fixture of the weekend. The Dubs go to Ennis to face Clare. It's a great tie.
What do you expect from Clare? Like, I know Colin Ryan has said, kind of former Clare player, he said it's kind of their last dance. I don't think the league will be much of that last dance. I think that'll be trying to get new players on the pitch, make sure to have more options come championship time. I think a lot of the eggs will be in the championship basket, really, because you're looking at 2026 and you're thinking it's probably the last year for John Conlon. It's most definitely the last year for Shane O'Donnell by what he's saying, and potentially a couple of more players as well.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, I think 1B is perfect for him, Michael. I actually think it's perfect for him. They can come in under the radar, and you know the way Clare. There won't be a word in Cavan about Clare. They'll come in nicely under the radar, and they'll hit someone with a bomb up in Ennis, and they'll really go and target that Munster campaign and try and, as you just touched on, try and get the 2 or 3 wins. That'll be good enough to potentially probably get them into a Munster final, or put them in the top 3. Look, they'll still be difficult to beat come Munster Championship time. In the league, they'll be still good enough to win to finish in the top 2, put themselves into a league final. I think who they'll be playing in that league final, I think it'll be Dublin. I think the 2 of them are meeting the weekend. I think they'll be back in 7 weeks' time playing in a league final. So I foresee both Clare and Dublin finishing in the top 2. Either way, it could be Dublin 1, it could be Clare 2. Wexford are an interesting one now. Wexford, without Rory O'Connor, McGuckin is gone as well. Down another 1 or 2 players.
Owen Ryan is gone. I think Lee Chin has a muscle injury at the minute as well.
Lee Chin. So, it could be a difficult enough league campaign. And again, Wexford supporters, they might have to have a little bit of patience early doors.
Patience will be thin if they suffer defeats to teams that are perceived as a good bit lower down the pecking order.
Well, it's not going to be easy. I mean, you look at Antrim now, and Antrim are playing all their league fixtures up in Dunloy. I mean, I don't know. Do Wexford have to go up to Dunloy? So, you know, they're going to get nothing easy against Antrim, Carlow, Kildare. I mean, those teams they don't roll over, Michael.
Well, I tell you what, Mull, they'll have a ringer on Wexford, and they'll think that they can get a result there.
Well, if you're not at it and you're anyway complacent at all, I mean, you've seen it with Waterford last year against Carlow. You know, they're down a good few bodies. Went up to Carlow, probably underperformed, and Carlow, you know, got what they deserved. Got a win against Waterford. So there's nothing guaranteed against some of those sides, and they're going to be fighting for their lives. You know, that pool of Down, Antrim, Kildare, and
Carlow.
who's the other one? And Carlow. I mean, those four are going to be fighting for points to stay out of that bottom two. I think Wexford will do enough. I think they, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if they did come unstuck against one of those four sides. But I don't see him getting into the top two. They'll be in either third or fourth. I think the bottom two, it's probably looking at Down, and I think Davy will go after a good league campaign with Antrim. I think they'll get 3 wins.
I think Kildare will stay up.
So then you're probably looking at Carroll. Looking at Down and Carroll.
It's going to be fascinating, and we'll.
Going to be brilliant. It's going to be brilliant. And look, I don't think there's going to be any, you know, as before, where there's going to be a lot of meaningless games, or teams are not going to be going at it, or there's going to be shadow boxing. I think teams, you know, early doors, they'll be eager to get the wins on the board, get the 2 points on the board, get 4 points on the board early doors. So I think the next couple of weeks are going to be very interesting.
Great stuff, Mull. We'll be back again next week to review it all, and look forward to it. Talk to you soon, Pat.